I was on Nicole Wallace, Deadline White House, with Nicole Wallace this past week on Monday. And I made a basic claim that the 78 million people who voted for Donald Trump, 77 to 78 million people who voted for Donald Trump, had to, in so many ways, grapple with what actually motivated them to vote for this man, to vote for someone who's in effect shredding the Constitution, who's in effect throwing the republic into the trash bin. There's so much James Baldwin would say, and I'm always willing to quote him, but I'm paraphrasing him here, that the consequences of this desire of the country to separate itself from black people, right? To separate itself from others. The consequences, right, are devastating for the country, and we're living it in real time in our moment. And so I was asked, what did I think the motivation was? I said they would rather throw the republic into the trash bin than elect a black woman as president of the United States. And all hell broke loose. I don't know what it's going to take for the American people, for 78 million Americans, to deal with what motivated them to make the choice to elect this man again, to make the choice that will allow these people to undermine every fundamental assumption we have, that you can just be disappeared, and then they can argue that, a court is getting in the way of their ability to exercise, foreign policy in some ways, right? I don't know what it's going to take for 78 million Americans to deal with what motivated them to make this choice. And the choice that they've made, we have to just be honest, is to literally throw the republic into the trash bin. And this is just one example. The tariffs is another, right? They made the choice. Now, what was behind it? We have to grapple with it, because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy. And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman. So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the republic than for that to have happened. And until we grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
And I think you're getting at how we're going to have to go through the next 4 years, right? Because I haven't on this show covered the talk of a third term, because I believe it's a shiny object. I believe the things driving Trump's approval rating down are the man-made destruction of the economy, abandoning due process. But you're right in that 78 million people voted for someone who wants to shred the Constitution. Why?
That's the key.
What's the answer?
There is a sense in which the underbelly of the country, what Melville was writing about, right? That there's this sense, this tragic dimension of the American project, where the extension of basic democratic principles, the idea that dignity and standing should be accorded to anyone, no matter their gender, no matter where they're from, no matter their color, that has been challenged because some people believe that by definition they ought to be superior to others, and that the country should be organized in such a way to ensure that fact. And we have been willing to do monstrous things in defense of it. Monstrous things. And people have been using it in some ways, Nicole, for their own self-interest. They might not be monsters in that sense, but they might be unabashedly greedy. They just want to make money with and exploit people's grievances and hatreds in the way. But we've been dealing with this from the very beginning. And, people will say, Eddie's on his horse again. He's on that more horse. But we've been dealing with it.
It ties everything together.
That's it. That's all you have to do is look at my X feed, my inbox at Princeton, telephone calls. Breitbart covered it. Conservative social media. I don't even call it conservative. Right wing, far right social media covered it. People calling me the N-word coon, calling for me to kill myself, saying that I'm the racist because I am claiming that 78 million Americans are racist because they wouldn't vote for a black woman. The level of dishonesty in America, USA. The willingness to live in the fantasy that somehow this nation has left behind the ugliness that has for so long shadowed our basic principles. The serpent coiled tight in the bosom of the nation, as Frederick Douglass said, remains there, still there, eating our entrails. And the reaction, the vitriol, the hatred, proved the point. Proved the point. We are in dark times again. And it seems that at every turn, when we face the chance, the possibility of imagining ourselves otherwise, we turn a blind eye to those forces that insist that this remain a white republic. And if you dare to speak the truth, which we will continue to do, it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost. So it's been a rough week, a rough 2 days. As America USA, at least this ugly underbelly, the barnacled underbelly of the white whale, right, revealed itself to me intimately. But that's okay. That's okay. We will still bear witness. We will still bear witness with love.